Thank you all for being here. 1 year ago, almost to this very day, our subcommittee held a hearing on strengthening OSHA enforcement of multi-state employers. Our issue today, our subject today, relates to that directly. Because today, as part of the Workers' Memorial Day commemoration, the subcommittee is exchanging and examining OSHA's Enhanced Enforcement Program, or EEP. This is a program that OSHA unveiled in 2003 to deal with large employers that are indifferent to the health and safety of their employees, and employers who have properties, multi-states, and are not in just one area, in other words. The FEP was initiated in response to a widespread investigation by the New York Times and Frontline that exposed the horrendous working conditions at McWane. McWane is the biggest cast iron water and sewer pipe manufacturer in the world. From 1995 to 2003, at least 9 workers were killed and 4,600 workers were injured at McWane facilities across the country. McWane had received over 400 citations, but it had only received 1 criminal conviction, and that was in 2002. At that time, McWane paid a fine. Several years later, McWane was found guilty of several work and safety and environmental criminal violations. And just this last week, some of its officials were sentenced to substantial prison time. Had an EEP, an Enhanced Enforcement Program, been in place at an earlier date, many McWane workers could have been saved from death or serious injury. Currently, under the EEP, did I say FEP? EEP, if OSHA has reason to target a recalcitrant employer for the program, it is permitted to conduct enhanced enforcement activities, such as follow-up inspections and inspections of related work sites. It also can insist that a company hire a health and safety consultant to develop a health and safety program or apply the terms of any settlement that it reaches with the employer on a company-wide basis. After 6 years of operation, it's clear that EEP's original design is flawed and that OSHA under the Bush administration didn't implement the program as intended. The Office of Inspector General, the OIG, has conducted an audit of the program and has come up with some startling results. They include the fact that in 97 of the cases that the audit sampled, OSHA did not comply fully with the requirements of the program. These omissions were not trivial. They held very serious consequences. Jesus Reyes, who is here with us today as a witness, will testify as to just how devastating these mistakes can be. He is the stepson of Raul Figueroa, who was killed in January 2008 while working as a mechanic for Waste Management, Inc. at one of the company's facilities in Broward County, Florida. Mr. Reyes, I am sorry for your loss, and I think you are very brave to be here today. Your stepfather died a gruesome and senseless death when he was crushed by that hydraulic arm of a garbage truck, something that we believe could have been prevented. Now Waste Management, Inc. is a large company with multi-state facilities. We all know that. It has a history of OSHA violations. In fact, before Mr. Figueroa died, another worker had suffered a similar fate at a different facility in Florida. And Waste Management was one of the 32 employers the Inspector General found that should have been targeted for the EEP, but it hadn't been. If the company had been properly monitored under the EEP, would Mr. Figueroa be with us today? That is a sobering question and a sobering thought, and one that deserves our full attention, which is why we are conducting this hearing. We need to know why the program isn't working and what we can do to fix or revamp it. I'm very pleased to welcome all of our witnesses, including Acting Assistant Secretary for OSHA, Jordan Barab, who we have all worked with, who I'm going to call Secretary until this gets all settled, because I'm not going to say Acting Assistant Secretary. Okay, I'm going to say Secretary Barab, who until very recently, as I said, was on this side of the table. Mr. Secretary, we know that both you and Secretary Solis share a deep commitment to worker health and safety, and so we're looking forward to hearing from you about the agency's suggestions, be they legislative or administrative, so that we can target larger employers who are indifferent to their employees and do it appropriately.